princesses, kings and queens. This is Kiki coming to you today to send nothing but love, peace, and positivity your way. So, as I decided to get out the house to get some fresh air, I'm taking advantage of this summertime because I know when August come around, it's going to be hardcore teaching and possibly going back to school. Thinking about going back to work on a master's, but I'm not sure exactly which direction I should go. I don't know if I should continue to finish on in education or switch roles. And I'm kind of leaning towards switching roles because I think my experience with teaching elementary has been quite an interesting journey. And I just think there's a lot of revision that need to take place in that in the education system. So I know that you've heard me mention a lot about spirituality, and I really wanted to touch on being a spiritual person that's on the dating scene. You know, I believe that the religious structure created a major division between the people that's more on, I guess, the Christian side versus the ones that's more on the spiritual side. Remember, anything that's tied to the government is always a competition. It's always a division. They create the chaos and then they come back around and create the order. Much like, I'll say, Batman and Joker. Joker creates the chaos and Batman creates the order. Any superhero, even with Trump, he creates the chaos and then turn back around and come back and create the order, like he saved the day. But I digress. The thing is, I feel like many. Okay, so let me talk more about my personal experience since I've been on the transition to opening up to dating again. I've ran into many Christian men. Well, they claim to be Christian, and so I noticed that when they introduce themselves to me, sorry about that, they, it's a normal conversation. We try to get to know each other, but I think where the disconnect come in at is because they start to not look. They don't want to look at me as a human being, a woman that have boundaries, that have wants, needs, requirements. They look at me like, okay, well, why do you have wants and requirements in a more judgmental way when you got a fucked up background, when you used to, mess with different guys and not have respect for yourself. But see, the difference is spiritual people believe in growth. We believe in changing from the negative, toxic ways to the positive ways. But then when the tables turn, when I start looking at, them, and I'm like, okay, so you're questioning my behavior, but let's look at your behavior. And it's almost like, they feel condemned, or they want to, cut you off, or they don't want to face their mirror. They don't want to face themselves in the mirror. And so I noticed that it happens a lot when I'm talking to, any Christian type of man. And so this is kind of what I wanted to touch on. We have to really figure out a way to come out of this matrix, out of the government system. And I'm not saying that we have to be rebellious and create wars. I'm not saying that, or become terrorists. But I'm saying we need to figure out a way to become unified again. Because if you are trying to, okay, just put it this way. When you run into some pastors, many of them still commit crimes. Many of them still have lustful feelings. They still feed the flesh, but more behind closed doors. And then they come out with their Bible and try to condemn other people. But if we try to take out the time and look at ourselves as, okay, we are human beings dealing with, duality. We have a good side and a bad side. And once we notice that, okay, this bad side is creating more curses in my life, it's creating more karma, more blockages, it's creating more issues within my family, within my workplace, within my marriage, then I think it would be a better outcome than walking around trying to pretend to be Christ-like, but then you cussing people out, you being nasty, you're lying on people, you're gossiping about people, you're not being uplifting, you're not speaking life into people, and you're so quick to judge spiritual people. And like I said, you can, say that spiritual people are practicing witchcraft or whatever. Not everybody is on that type of level. And like I said, there's witchcraft in all of us. When you go and pray to Jesus and you're trying to, bring out the praying, or you're wearing white, you're washing your feet, that's a ritual. And that's the same type of situation a witch would go through. Sometimes they would, have different, set different intentions, but their goal is to manifest something through using the earth elements, just like a religious person. They're trying to manifest something, but instead they decide to go through Jesus or God to manifest something. Oh, Jesus, please help me get this new car. Please help me pay off these bills. Please help me get a new house. Please help me get a new husband. And even in with sexuality, it's like, I've heard some Christians, they're like, we keep it clean and pure over here. But then you go in the bedroom and sometimes you turn on pornography. Sometimes you want to do all these freaky, kinky stuff. But then you want to judge people that's very outward about it. They let people know, hey, yeah, I like to throw it down. Yeah, I got that experience. Yeah. And both of the acts involves a sex spell. Okay, you're trying to keep your husband hooked on your body when you're Christian, so you do certain acts. When you're, practice spirituality, you may, really like this person. You want them to connect, not just on a physical level, but a mental, emotional, and then a physical level. So it's like people, I don't get it. It's like we're all doing the same thing. We're all doing the same thing. We all want the same thing. We all want to be at peace. We want to have a healthy life. We want to have wealth. We want to have a beautiful outcome, a successful life. Whether we're Christian, whether we're spiritual, no matter the nationality, the background, whether you're wealthy, whether you're in between, whether you're broke, whether you straight, whether you gay, whether it doesn't matter. Young, old, we all want to have a great experience while we're living on this beautiful earth we call Gaia. It's like, I don't know when we're going to get it together, but I feel like we are hindering ourselves. And this is why a lot of spiritual people stay in solitude. When you read a lot of stories, you find witches that they, the fairy tale, they are always lonely. They're always rolling solo, because it's like, it's very negative when you're walking around trying to connect with other people, but they already judging you based on your lifestyle, based on the way you live, based on how you carry yourself, how you look. And people just want to be loved. That's all we ask, just to be loved and respected, and then help each other grow. Like when I give advice about, staying away from drugs, alcohol, unhealthy foods, toxic, especially that pork. Oh my gosh. When I talk about stuff like that, that's me speaking life and love into you, because I know I've seen the outcome of the people that indulge and overindulge in it. When I'm talking about, not being misused and abused, I know the outcome. Because when you allow people to misuse you and abuse you, they are slowly killing you. And you don't feel like you have a purpose. You don't even know how to stand up for yourselves. So, like I said, we need to just get away from all of this division and save it for math class. We really do, because it's just tearing us apart. You got the Confederates versus the Patriots. You got, all these football teams competing against each other, people gambling, fighting. It's like, when do we snap out of it? And so that's all I try to do. It's just try to get people to see things from a open-minded standpoint. I'm not saying everything is all rainbows and butterflies and sunshine, but it's like, okay, when we see bullshit, we gotta know how to navigate through it and not join in with it. So that's all I'm saying. That's the whole point of all of my videos. It's just to point out the negativity and be cognizant of it and try to do better. That's all. We just got to do better. So, with that being said, I'm going to conclude it here and I'll be back in touch.